Hi, I'm Mark Fulton with the Unleash team. Welcome to this video, where we will take a look at managing an Unleash instance configuration through Terraform. We'll begin with some theory behind the why and the how, what pain points may exist for different platform and DevOps teams, and how Terraform can help with these. We'll also explore a typical Terraform workflow and understand how the Unleash Terraform provider fits in with this. Then, we look at the capabilities of the Unleash provider and review some requirements and best practices for getting started. Finally, we go hands-on with the demo, where we explore a basic Terraform configuration with the Unleash provider and execute a workflow to import existing objects and create some new ones. Platform and DevOps teams managing projects and feature flags often have repetitive workflows locating specific configurations, setting up permissions, and manually inputting data. This can lead to several challenges. First, complex UI navigation. Even with a user-friendly interface, navigating through multiple sections of the Unleash UI to configure projects and feature flags can be cumbersome. Second, domain-specific knowledge requirements. Onboarding a new team member, they'll need to invest time understanding the nuances of the Unleash UI, leading to a steeper learning curve. Manual error. Humans are prone to mistakes. A misclick, an overlooked setting, or a wrongly assigned permission can have repercussions. Scalability issues. As your product grows, so do your feature flags. Manually managing an ever-growing list is not just time-consuming, it's challenging to maintain consistency. And finally, lack of version control. UI-based changes don't come with a version history like code. If a mistake is made, tracing it back can be complex. These challenges can be addressed systematically through Terraform. First, codified configurations. Terraform lets you replace complex UI interactions with structured code. Precise, consistent, and efficient. Standardized onboarding. If you have new team members, Terraform configurations will allow them to work with a format many engineers are familiar with. The learning curve is therefore reduced significantly. Minimized human error. Terraform configurations, being code-based, can be reviewed, tested, and versioned. This dramatically reduces the chances of errors. Scalability and consistency. With code as your configuration medium, scaling becomes a matter of replicating structured configurations. Consistency is maintained effortlessly. Finally, you can expect clear audit trails. Every change is committed to version control. For mistakes, just trace back to the commit, review, and rectify. Terraform integrates into standard Git-based development workflows. At the top of this slide is a standard Terraform flow showing Terraform components, and then underneath how this translates to an Unleash context. In the first stage, the init, it should be called out that the import step is optional and only applies if you have non-Terraform managed objects in your Unleash instance you want to leverage as part of your Terraform workflow. Otherwise, you can start with a clean state and declare resources, and Terraform will create them for you. Here's how it works. Developers author infrastructure as code in a GitHub repository, for example, adding permissions to a project or a role change. This is submitted as a pull request. The platform team then review the pull request and preview the changes. Once approved and merged, Terraform automates the application. The whole process is streamlined, removing the need for manual UI interactions. In terms of outcomes, for the platform team, this is transformative. Fewer manual steps mean reduced errors. Codified configurations ensure consistency, making deployment of feature flags faster and more reliable. Every change, being code-based, becomes traceable, ensuring accountability and transparency. There's also a collaboration boost. Developers in the platform team discuss configurations directly in code. This method ensures clarity and reduces back and forth as discussions are centered around concrete configurations. Now that we've gained a high-level understanding of the use cases for Terraform and a common workflow with Git, let's look at the Unleash Terraform provider in more detail. What Unleash objects can you manage using the Terraform provider? You can create new projects, project access assignments, create roles, users groups, and API tokens. In addition, the provider supports the importing of existing resources for Terraform-driven management, including projects, roles, users, and permissions. Take a look at the docs hosted on the Terraform registry for more on these. We'll explore these resources and data sources in more detail over the following few slides. Starting off with resources. Here we look at projects and API tokens. Feature flag projects can now be codified. This will let you standardize configurations and ensure consistent and rapid project setups. For the API tokens, you can now safeguard your integration touchpoints, regulate access, and maintain secure communication with verified integrations. Looking at roles and users. You can define permissions systematically with the use of unleash_role. This helps you ensure users and teams get precise access efficiently and error-free. On the user side, handle onboarding to role modifications through Terraform. A secure method to add users using Terraform is to use the send_email_is_true flag. This will generate an invitation link, and another option as well is to define the password directly in Terraform. Using the Unleash project access resource, we can assign access roles and users to a project. Default built-in roles are shown here as data sources. See the project name, role, and users assigned and defined in the example here. Onto data sources. These let you fetch project definitions and users respectively. The required fields are called out in red. The project ID for projects, the user ID for users. Other fields are sort of read-only and defined elsewhere and are optional. With these data sources, you can fetch roles from Unleash. The examples show the default roles and permissions. Moving on, how can you get started using the Unleash Terraform provider? What are the requirements and what are some best practices around those? A minimum of Unleash version 5.6 and above is required. Unleash Enterprise is required to manage projects and roles, as those features are only available in the Enterprise product. Open source can be used, but would be limited to its respective resource set. Permissions will determine the objects that can be managed in Terraform. A token should be created for Terraform use. In the case of open source or the pro version of Unleash, you'll create an admin token or a personal access token, PAT for short. In addition, some best practices around security for use across the provider with the enterprise product. We recommend leveraging one or more service accounts for tokens, and then for larger scaling multi-team use, create multiple service accounts with different permissions assigned to those. Then, separate Terraform repos for teams under their projects. Now, let's explore all of these concepts hands-on in a demo. Within the Unleash Terraform provider repo, we have a sample Terraform project that uses the Unleash provider to create some new objects and take ownership of some pre-existing ones, reorganizing the overall configuration. Unleash is deployed through Docker Compose. First, let's review our source files to gain an understanding of what will be deployed at the various stages and the changes that will be prepared on the Terraform side. This will also provide a basic understanding of how the Terraform objects are written and structured. Then, we'll run the deploy, examine the output and confirm the state of Unleash to make sure everything has been set up correctly. In our local environment, the dependencies are straightforward. We have Docker, Docker Compose, Unleash, and Terraform. We're using the enterprise version of Unleash to showcase the full capability set of the provider, but as we recall from the slides, open source works as well, with a limiting corresponding set of features. Kicking off with our Docker Compose file. As part of deploying Unleash, we define an initial admin token. We'll use this later for the Terraform provider configuration. Everything else here is fairly standard, providing various health checks, database dependencies, endpoints, pretty much a standard Unleash instance. Now we look inside the Stage 4 folder, which contains our Terraform project. In provider.rf.tf, we define the Unleash provider and some configuration parameters for it. Here the base URL of our Unleash instance, and the admin token that we already defined in the Docker Compose file. Two files make up the main recipe for our Terraform configuration, and the Unleash objects Terraform will take ownership of, create, and manage. In default.project.tf, we are importing the default project set up by the Unleash deployment into our Terraform configuration. Next, main.tf has the full set of changes. In terms of structure, locals are used to help organize the objects for Terraform to create. This is in conjunction with the project module, which uses the project folder inside Stage 4, containing code that iterates over those locals. For projects, we rename the default project and create new ones, using a module definition, while also defining users, roles, and API tokens. Now that we have an understanding of the configuration, let's start by setting up our default blank Unleash instance. Let's check out our default Unleash instance before any Terraform config is applied. We see the default project and single admin user. Now at this stage we're applying the Terraform configuration to our Unleash instance. Unleash will be started up again. And now we see the Terraform related logs. Let's take a look at this log to see the changes committed by Terraform. Terraform does a great job of sectioning and calling out exactly what changes were performed in an easy-to-read manner. We can see the provider being installed here. We see the default project being imported. Then we see the various roles, users, permissions, projects being defined, as well as the API tokens. This allows for very simple troubleshooting because you can see exactly what actions Terraform is taking. Now, once the log has shown you a plan of what it is going to do, it provides you with the plan summary, and then it goes ahead and commits those changes and executes them. Then you see a confirmation once those particular objects have been created or changed. Then finally, summary statement here. So, in summary, we can observe an API token was created. The default project updated and taken over. 3 roles created per our specifications. Three users. And then 3 projects created, all with their respective role and user access assignments. And now we'll log into our Unleash UI to confirm the changes. That's everything for now. To recap, we've identified various pain points that platform or DevOps teams may encounter and how these can be solved using Terraform. We've explored the workflow and capabilities of the Unleash Terraform provider and seen a hands-on application of these principles. Thanks for watching.